to this episode of the Palmetto Guardian. I'm Sergeant Chelsea Baker.
And I'm Sergeant Tim Andrews.
And today we have some guests with us, so I'm going to let you, each of you introduce yourself for the people who are watching and listening.
I'm Command Sgt Hooten. I'm the 125th Cyber Protection Battalion Command Sergeant Major and also the ACFT H2F Project NCO.
And hi, my name is Dan Bornstein. I'm a professor at the Citadel. I'm a professor in our Department of Health and Human Performance, and I'm also the director of the Citadel's Center for Performance, Readiness, Resiliency, and Recovery, abbreviated CPR3.
Wow, that is a long title to have.
It's a long one.
I wouldn't be able to remember all that. But so both of you mentioned fitness. So that's basically what we're here to talk about today is we have a lot going on with the new ACFT and all these different fitness programs. So if you could just explain a little bit about why you guys are here and the programs that you're here to talk about.
So when we talk about Army modernization, everybody thinks about equipment, but it's more about the soldier and how can we make this soldier better, fitness-wise, mentally, resilient, and everything is focused on the soldier, and that's part of the TAG's priorities of soldier being ready, readiness in the unit, and also partnerships. And so we wanted to talk about the ACFT, where we're at in the South Carolina Army National Guard with the ACFT, where we're at in the Big Army with the ACFT, as of October 2020, and also moving into holistic health and fitness.
Okay. And sir, I know that you're...
Yeah, I would just say that I think part of the reason I'm here is to discuss some opportunities for the Citadel and the Guard to partner on this idea of fitness. And I would just say that fitness is being much more broadly defined, particularly as you see it in H2F. It's holistic health and fitness, and oftentimes we think of fitness as just being physical, and certainly the ACFT, for anybody who's taken it, they know it's a pretty darn tough assessment of physical fitness, but just because you're physically fit, and that in and of itself is a challenge, does not necessarily mean you're ready. And that you're optimally ready. So there's a mental and spiritual and cognitive element of fitness that H2F is trying to address, and it's wise to address those things, and it's those things that we've been also thinking about at the Citadel. So we've identified some solutions that we think are going to help the Army, help H2F, and first and foremost help the South Carolina Army National Guard to be optimally ready to do the task.
Okay. So before we go into the H2F, I want to go back to what Sergeant Major was saying with, I guess, statistics and stuff on where we're at with the ACFT and changes, or what? Can you elaborate more on what's going on with that?
This past weekend at IDT, I saw the soldiers of the Cyber Battalion take the ACFT, and I think they really enjoyed it because there's a lot more cooperative experience in the ACFT. Everybody's cheering each other on. There's a little bit of competitive experience going on, and it's just more than doing push-ups, sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. You're actually doing more functional fitness during the ACFT, what you would see in your warrior task, and the soldiers really enjoying that, kind of getting back to basics, learning some new fitness techniques, NCOs coaching soldiers, graders coaching soldiers how to do the ACFT, and they really seem to enjoy going through the events. There's a lot of material that is out there to help soldiers and units in the ACFT, and I would refer them to usarmy.mil/ACFT. There's YouTube videos. There's a lot of great information about how you perform the events, the techniques, safety precautions, and that's what we want to do is make sure the soldier gets through the ACFT safely. In the October of 2020, we're fully into the ACFT mode. So the only soldiers that are going to do the APFT are the soldiers that are red flagged. Basically, they need to pass the APFT so they can move forward in their career, and they will move on to the ACFT. Right now, what we're seeing is ACFT familiarization in the Army National Guard, taking a diagnostic test and getting ready for that record test that the soldiers will need to perform. The APFT, that test is good all the way up till March, the end of March of 2022. And the ACFT, Army Combat Fitness Test, the diagnostic test, none of that information that's on that test, that scorecard, can be used against the soldier in order for them to, for their military education, to further their career. So none of that, everything's right now is being used for data, and that data is a baseline where the ACFT will evolve. Right now, you saw where the leg tuck. Now there's a new alternate event, the plank. So the soldier has to try a leg tuck, and if they can't complete a leg tuck, they'll go to a 2-minute plank. So there's different things that have evolved in the ACFT. Right now, the Army wants us to be at the gold standard. And what is the gold standard? So the soldiers need to know what the gold standard is, and if that's the max deadlift, they have to deadlift 140 pounds. Standing power ball throw, they have to throw the ball 4.5 meters. They have to do 10 push-ups, hand release push-ups, and they have to do the run in 21 minutes. The time on the sprint track carry is about 3 minutes that they have to perform. So all that is doable, and then we need to be able to teach our soldiers how to do these events correctly. So that's where we are at the baseline as far as ACFT. And again, this test is going to be evolving over the years. It'll be, right now we're at 2.0, and it's just going to be just like technology. You know, you get a new iPhone or computer from years to years, the ACFT, based upon that data, what soldiers are doing, it's going to be evolving, and that's going to help the soldier.
Mm-hmm. I like that you mentioned that. I recently just finally did a diagnostic, and I was excited and nervous because I didn't know what to expect. And going from just doing 3 events to doing all these other events, I was like, oh, I don't know how it's gonna play out. But it wasn't as bad as I thought. Definitely still cannot do a leg tuck, but I tried the 2-minute plank. That was brutal, like, but I did it. And then that kind of carried over into my run. So, I mean, I think if you start preparing now, and we've been talking about this for several months now, and it's still in a diagnostic period. So, like, we've been encouraging everybody, at least try it. Don't run away from it. Like, try it to see where you're at, because then you can see where you can improve on. But I think that just because we've had so much change this past year and all these new changes coming up, people are like, they're getting anxious about it. But definitely having you guys come in and talk about it in these different programs and the statistics and stuff helps. So that brings me into wanting to talk back about the H2F. Like, where did that start? How did it evolve? And where's it at now with the Guard and what you guys do down at the Citadel?
Well, I think the H2F, and I'll let Sergeant Major Hooten talk about it in terms of its relationship to the Guard, but it's really it stands for Holistic Health and Fitness. And DOD several years ago came up with their model called Total Force Fitness, and essentially what that and what H2F reflect is the idea that being physically fit is important. And the ACFT is a new assessment of physical fitness, and so the ACFT in and of itself is a new assessment, a new way to test physical fitness, and it's a broader series of tests. And so, frankly, some of the good news is if you're somebody who maybe loves lifting weights but doesn't love running, well, there's some elements of the ACFT that are going to be right up your alley. Mm-hmm. And frankly, it is a much better representation of the physiological demands of a warfighter than the old APFT. But H2F also goes beyond just physical fitness to consider the mental, cognitive, behavioral, spiritual fitness needs of the soldier. And those are unique, and those need to be addressed. And so the H2F program is designed to help bring together a team of experts, much like we've seen in the SOF units for the past several decades, right? You've got a dietitian, a physical therapist, a strength coach, a behavioral therapist, a cognitive performance. They're all there working with those special operators to help make sure they're ready to go. And essentially what H2F is an effort to diffuse that level of expertise down across the entire Army and the Guard. So what we've done at the Citadel is create a center that's designed to help support that effort in a couple different ways, and we can talk a little bit more about those later. But I'll let Sergeant Major Hooten talk about H2F as it relates to the Guard.
To me, H2F is all about soldier readiness, and again, that's the tags, priorities, soldiers, readiness, and then partnering. There's 5 domains in H2F, and that's your physical readiness, mental readiness, nutritional readiness, sleep readiness, and your spiritual readiness. And so as soldiers, we have to prioritize, and it's hard to prioritize with today's life of an M-Day soldier, having a family, having a job, but we have to prioritize so we can be physically ready, mentally ready, spiritually ready, and get that nutritional value, that sleep that we need to have in order to be functionally ready, to be that warrior athlete. And to me, it's part of the Army's modernization. When you think of H2F in the active Army, it's going to look a little bit different from what we see in the National Guard. In the active Army, they're working towards soldier readiness performance centers where they'll have their nutritionists, they'll have therapists, they'll have strength coaches all at one facility. Well, it's going to look a little bit different with the Guard. And here we already have soldier member and family care. And so we have that footprint in our regions, in our congressional districts already there. But how do we bolster up, what H2F looks like in the Guard and add to soldier member and family care? And the Citadel is an excellent resource. What Dr. Bornstein is doing at the Citadel, we would be negligent in our what we need to do in order to plan for H2F if we didn't engage in a partnership with the Citadel, if we didn't look at some of the programs that he's got going on at the Citadel, and get some of our green suiters engaged in what he has going on at the Citadel in order to bolster up what the Guard looks like and will look like with H2F in it.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, just to just generally contextualize the problem. We were talking off air about some research that we did at the Citadel with the big Army a couple of years ago, where we looked at the fitness levels and the injury rates of Army recruits upon showing up at basic training, based upon the state that they were recruited from, right? And we know in the South. Right, we're not called the stroke belt for nothing, right? I mean, we know that we have some of the highest rates of diabetes, heart disease, stroke, cancers, and so on. So I had this hunch that I talked with the Army about. I said, I have this hunch that maybe recruits coming out of the South may be less physically fit and more likely to sustain a musculoskeletal or training-related injury during BCT, basic combat training. So we did that study, and in fact, that hypothesis held true, that South Carolina was among a cluster of southern states from which the recruits were significantly less physically fit and significantly more likely to get injured. And that's when the Citadel decided, okay, so obviously we suck, right? We're part of the problem. let's be the solution to the problem. Let's create a center that is going to have programs, academic programs, research programs, community engagement programs that are going to actually help the state of South Carolina lead the way in being the solution to the problem as opposed to being the problem.
Okay.
And so how would you implement this program with recruits and all that to fix this?
That's a good question. It really takes bottom line, it's education. You can't expect to be a subject matter expert without studying the subject matter. So one of the legs of the stool of this CPR3 is academic programs. So we've created basically 3 avenues through which somebody can become a subject matter expert. So if you're a Guard member, for example, who doesn't have a bachelor's degree, but you've always wanted a bachelor's degree, the Citadel now has an online Bachelor's of Science in Tactical Strength and Conditioning. So you can come into that program, study basically at your own pace, and you can graduate from the Citadel without ever having to set foot on campus if you don't want to, with a Bachelor's of Science in Tactical Strength and Conditioning, and potentially be lined up for, when we talk about H2F in the big Army, there's the talk about of tactical strength and conditioning coach becoming a primary MOS. So this potentially puts you on a pathway to that, or maybe you want to open up your own business, and maybe you want to be a tactical strength and conditioning coach, working with other Guard members or law enforcement or firefighters or just general members of the population, helping them to be at their best. So that's one avenue. Another avenue is if you already have a bachelor's degree, but maybe you're passionate about fitness, and maybe you're an MFT, maybe you've gone through the MFT school, and you want to take this next step in becoming a real subject matter expert in tactical performance and resiliency. We have an online graduate certificate in tactical performance and resiliency where we dive pretty deeply into not just the physiological side of preparing the warfighter or the crime fighter or firefighter, but also some of the mental and spiritual aspects of what it means to be ready, just as Sergeant Major Hooten was talking about earlier. And then really the most challenging program we have is actual master's degree. We have a Master's of Science in Tactical Performance and Resiliency. And for that, you do have to be on campus. And in that program, we would expect our graduates, and it's a relatively new program, so we don't have any graduates yet. We're going to have our first crop of graduates coming up this year. But those are going to be people who will be at the tip of the spear in terms of leading the future of implementation of holistic health and fitness, being that tactical strength and conditioning coach who's part of that H2F team. And I would say graduates of the graduate certificate program may also be, depending upon what they're coming in with. If they're coming in with a bachelor's degree, maybe in an exercise science related field, or maybe they're a CrossFitter and they've got a good amount of exercise experience already, they're going to get that extra set of KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities that are going to allow them to be that SME for their unit, and maybe even create a new career path for themselves outside of the Guard.
Okay, awesome.
One of the things that I saw going through some Army schools, I went through Master Fitness Trainer, and once you get that certificate, there's no other professional development or continuing education that you can get unless you get it on your own. And the Citadel is a performance hub. What Dr. Bornstein has is a performance hub. If you're a MRT, if you're a MFT, and you want to continue your education, if you want to get some online training, if you want to get some hands-on experience, he's got a great program. And so we as Guards, men and women, need to tap into that avenue. It's right there in our backyard, and be on the forefront. What I call his center is on the forefront. It's the tip of the spear for the tactical athlete.
And I think it may be important to clarify what that term tactical athlete means, right? And we think about sport athletes all the time. We know that football players and soccer players and track athletes and so on, they have a unique set of physiological demands that they need to call upon in order to perform at a high level. And even within the sport of football, for example, the way in which you're going to condition a lineman is very different from how you're going to condition a running back or a wide receiver. And tactical athletes have their own unique set of physiological demands. So somebody might say, well, why wouldn't I just go get a personal training certification? And the answer is, well, you could, and you would have some baseline KSAs. But what's really important, particularly in the military, is getting buy-in. And one of the ways you get buy-in is being able to really explain the why behind the what. So if you got a slow run time and somebody just says, well, go run more, that may not be the answer, right? So if you've got, Sergeant Major and I were talking about this earlier, if your run time is slow because you have a kind of messed up gait, right? In other words, your feet are flopping to the side or your arms are flopping to the side, your heart and lungs may be working just fine, but there may be some underlying musculoskeletal condition that needs to be cleaned up. And so the answer isn't run more. It's actually, let's maybe improve some flexibility. Let's improve your strength in certain areas. And that's knowing the why behind the what. And the only way to get there is through some in-depth education. And that's what we've developed through our programs at the Citadel. And they're the only ones right now of their kind in the world. So Guard members have an opportunity to educate themselves in a field that is about to explode, and from an institution that's in their backyard, and with a degree or certificate that's the only one of its kind in the world.
So is this something that, I mean, clearly it's already implemented, but is there Guards members already participating in this, or what does that look like?
So yes and no. We actually have, we're about to graduate a member of the Washington National Guard, Captain Ben Seams, who's been one of our star students. So that just gives you a sense of, because of the online nature of it, it's accessible from anywhere. Mm-hmm. We don't have any Guard members currently in our graduate certificate program, but frankly, I would say that this is a call to action. I would say if you're somebody who maybe already has a bachelor's degree and this is something that you think you want to pursue and you really want to know the why behind the what, you want to help protect and serve those that you're standing beside in protecting and serving this state and nation, well, then you're a really good candidate for our program. And you can come back into your unit and be that SME and be that leader for helping people pass the ACFT and helping implement H2F within the state of South Carolina, and helping South Carolina really start to lead the way. So right now Washington's ahead by one, and we got to do a little bit more in South Carolina. Okay.
Is there anything else that we might not have touched on that you wanted to tell everybody?
Just the leaders and the soldiers need to get their hands on FM 7-22. It came out, the new version, in October of 2020. It's all about holistic health and fitness. It's your baseline for functional fitness, where the Army is moving to. And I would encourage the soldiers and the leaders to be enthused about this. It's evolving. Mm-hmm. This is going to keep evolving. And like I said, the Citadel is on the tip of the spear of this. And I'm just excited about, the potential for partnerships. With COVID, we've got a lot of remote learning, a lot of online learning. So I think hopefully out there's going to be examples where we'll have soldiers that are in the South Carolina Army National Guard that will start to look at these type of programs and get involved with continuing their education. And what better, school would you want to go to in South Carolina that's going to develop you to be mentally and physically ready to be that citizen soldier, that first responder. There's a lot of firefighters that are in South Carolina Army National Guard. There's a lot of law enforcement that are in South Carolina Army National Guard. And what better opportunity to make yourself better in the Guard and in your profession than that the Citadel.
Yeah. Is there anything else, sir, that you would like to?
I would just say that, if anybody's got questions, they can contact me. I'm an open book. So just reach out and get in touch with me. Be happy to chat with you about our programs and most importantly about helping you get to where you want to go professionally and personally.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate both of you stopping by today to talk to us about this. Definitely want to get this out to everybody that's in the South Carolina National Guard and get feedback. Leave us some comments if there's any other topics or questions that you may have about the program that we didn't touch bases on. And of course, we would love to have you both back in the near future to talk more about it and maybe things that have changed and things that are evolving with it. But thank you for coming and seeing us today.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. And maybe next time we come back, we'll have somebody who's a Guard member who's a student in the program, and they're talking about how awesome it is. Hopefully, they'll talk about how awesome it is.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Yes, and if anyone, a leader or a soldier, needs assistant or reach back for the ACFT or H2F, I'm available. James.G, that's my email. And also my cell number is 803-609-7117. Just reach out to me anytime.
Awesome. Again, thank you guys for stopping by. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.